How to build products and services that solve people's problems.
Money, mindset.
Looking at essentially how you can create your first product from start to finish before you actually can start making money. So think of, to start your product, essentially what you want, the idea behind your product is you want a product that's going to solve people's problems. Either solving people's problems or giving them massive pleasure. And that's essentially what a business is all about. So think of 3 to 7 big problems you currently have. What are they and how can you solve them? So think of what people are suffering with, or something that you repeatedly hear that people talk about being a problem or being an issue. You can go into a number of different Facebook groups and see what people are talking about. Go into Reddit and see what problems people are having and how you can solve them. Speak to your friends and family and see what the big problems they have. You can Google it, see what's coming up on Google, on websites, what problems are having you can have. And essentially you want to start creating a way to solve that. You want to be packaging up your problems, your product to solve people's problems. So what qualifies you to solve them? So think of areas where you've had experience in the past, where you have experienced these pain points in the past. What annoys you? What frustrates you at the moment? What is people doing that's not quite solving your problems? And this is where you can come in. You need to find a gap in the market where you can do something better than what's currently on offer. And the world's full of problems, so it's about finding that and monetizing it, packaging up in a way that people will pay for your product and service. So it's much easier if you've experienced the problem yourself. It's much easier if you have had that problem yourself, because you know the pain, the frustration that you can go through, and it makes you much more credible. It makes you much more authentic if you've actually had that problem before. So use skills that you already have. Just make a list of what have you worked on in the past, what have you done in the past, where have you worked, have you had any hobbies, any side hustles that you've been working on. And this is kind of the key to where you can help people. So don't reinvent the wheel. You can take what works and essentially make it better. One of the best ways to do this is looking at businesses already and just make them better. During recessions, it's the best time to find businesses that maybe they're not making a profit. They are making a really good profit, and the owner's just tired. They want to give up because maybe they're coming close to retirement and they don't have the energy to kind of push through the recession. So it's never been a better time to buy a business that you can add value to. Make what you love your hobby as well. So that's another, looking at what you love, and you're going to be spending a lot of time in this business, so it may as well be something that you like doing. It's much easier to solve or talk about these problems if you've done it before and you've had experience in it. So what can you sell? So this might be information products, e-learning products. It can be books, audiobooks, videos, membership sites. So people are buying education. They want something that can help them in their day-to-day life. So what you want to be doing is packaging up your intellectual property. So intellectual property is one of the most valuable assets on the planet today. So look at the big companies, they all have intellectual property. So understanding what you can do differently. So let's go into actually starting building your own product. So come up with an idea and just test it. It's much better to go out into the world and test your idea rather than sitting in your bedroom and thinking about different products and services you can create. So it's much better to go out into the world and actually see if you can solve these problems and start speaking to people. Test it and refine it. Test it and refine it, and test it and refine it. So there's a really good book called The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and he talks about a loop you go through, and essentially you want to create, test, understand, and then go back to the circle. So get an idea, and then just the first thing to do, just create what they call a minimum viable product. So the smallest time, effort and energy you can put in to create your first product. This can be a piece of paper and a pen and just calling your friend up and saying, is this a problem? Is this something you've suffered with in the past? What would make it better for you? And it's just about speaking to people, going to Facebook groups, seeing what they're doing, what people are complaining about, and seeing if you can come up with a better solution than what's on offer at the moment. The minimum viable product is it's got to be the simplest way to test something. So it's not about making money initially, it's about testing it to see if it's worth pursuing. So with business, it's about you only have a limited time and a limited budget and a limited amount of energy as well. So you want to be spending your time doing the most. You want to be spending your time if it's actually going to be beneficial to you. You don't want to spend loads of money, energy and effort if it's not going to pay off. So creating the first product is probably the hardest thing to do, but it's all about testing and refining. So he talks about go out into the world, test the product, create a minimal viable product. Once you have a minimal viable product, then test it again. See how you can improve that product. What can you build on? What was working that's not working? Can you add any different features to it? What benefits could you offer additionally to what is on at the moment? Get some responses, then understand what you can do better, and then come back to the idea stage. It's like a loop, and then basically once you have another idea, then go out and test that again, create another product, test it again, get a response, and then understand it. And this is a continuous loop that you need to go through. So in Japan they call it Kaizen, so it's continuous improvement, taking it, refining it and improving it. And this is a continuous cycle. So even the big companies should be doing this all the time, because businesses, it's a continuous evolution. It's not just a static model. You can't just have a product and that's going to be the only thing you're ever going to create. It's about testing and refining, and it's about continuous improvement. So the idea is to learn fast. So test and refine, continuous improvement, get a model, change it bit by bit and continuously and add to it. So Daniel Priestley talks about the value cycle, and he talks about starting off with an idea, just pitching it to people, going out usually to network. You can go out to networking events even if it's online due to coronavirus, and just speak to people to see if it is a problem, see if someone, maybe it might be a problem, but maybe someone's solving that problem already. And even if someone is solving that problem, do it differently, do it better, do it more uniquely, do it to a different demographic. See if you can change it slightly, offer a different feature, offer a different benefit. So the first go out with an idea, then it talks about it's going to be a disaster the first time. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be the first time you're going to create a product. It's not going to be, everything's not going to be perfect. Even on a website, if you've got the website you use, the writing, the copy is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but it's about testing and refining. It might be a disaster. And then, so anything of value takes time. So it's easy to give up at this stage and think there's not going to be, if people are not going to rush to your product. It's starting a business is always going to be tough. It's always going to be hard. And once you understand this, then it makes everything easier. If you expect the road to be smooth the whole time, you're going to be in for more bumps. If you expect the road to be bumpy, then you can prepare for it, and the road ends up being much more smoother. So the next stage, once you have your minimum viable product, people giving you feedback quickly, cheaply, is it worth continuing? And then once you have your product, then it's about getting paying customers. So going out, and the hardest thing is getting for people to take out their wallet and paying for your product. This product is essentially the stage where you're going to have enough money to meet your day-to-day costs. So this is your commercial version where people are going to be paying you for it. This is the next stage. Then it's adding to it, testing it, and then adding more benefits and adding more features to it until it's a remarkable product. Then this is the stage you need to get to where people tell their friends about it, where they post how remarkable it is on social media. People talk about how unique it is, and then this is essentially the value cycle. So idea, disaster, minimal viable product, commercial, and then amazing, where people tend to tell their friends about it. And this is the value cycle you need to go through. And this is creating your first product.
Money.